Hey, welcome back. In today's episode, I'm going to give you another run through of the latest suite of crypto scam techniques which the scamming organizations are employing today. Now, this is a continually evolving set of tactics to approach and entice those digital asset holders in order to steal our digital wealth. Now, it's actually coming to a point where it's really alarming now and highly urgent that you follow my Crypto Vault podcast series, where I'm continuously adding more episodes such as these, because unfortunately it's a continuing trend that we are seeing in 2025. This situation unfortunately is only going to get worse. But before I actually reveal those 8 common scam tactics in 2025, I'm just going to give you some statistics just to show you how serious, disruptive it is on digital asset investors. That despite the increase in market volatility, crypto enthusiasts expressed cautious optimism. Bitcoin has surged past the 100k mark, we're all familiar with that. And of course, there is record demand for capital inflows into those Bitcoin spot ETF products, and also renewed public enthusiasm, particularly on real world assets tokenization, which I've actually set up a separate podcast series which is called RWA Revolution, because we are seeing every day new demand, new use cases for real world asset coin projects. Now, as a result of this demand, this huge surge demand in crypto assets, there's the other side of the coin where there's money, there are scams. I mean, this is nothing new, right? So with crypto, the scams are getting more sophisticated and attacks more frequent and more dangerous. Again, these are the words that I have been continuously advocating throughout my podcast series and in this channel. The rise of generative AI has made it easier than ever to create convincing phishing schemes, those fake identities, and particularly deepfake videos, all used to part people from their crypto funds. Every year, new scams emerge, often evolving faster than many platforms or regulators can predict and react. So this is actually important. And again, it's nothing new. Always the criminal gangs are one step ahead against the authorities. That is just the historic trend, which unfortunately is not going to change anytime soon. Let's go back into some of the statistics which are alarming. The numbers are indeed disturbing. In 2024, Americans lost an estimated $9.3 billion to crypto fraud, according to the FBI. So, with all this in mind and the alarming statistics, I'm going to go through the 8 ways scammers will go after users' crypto in 2025. AI-generated deepfake scams is like the novelty. It's the latest of all the crypto scam techniques that we are seeing. A deepfake scam uses AI-generated video or audio to impersonate trusted figures such as family members, CEOs, or influencers in order to trick victims into sending cryptocurrency or revealing sensitive information, predominantly those seed phrases. These highly realistic forgeries make scams more convincing and difficult to detect, and their use has been on the rise in both traditional finance and crypto space. So AI-generated deepfake videos or audio scam calls is the latest technique at the moment that we are seeing. The next one on the list is too good to be true investments, typically those forex trading platforms. Scammers posing as savvy investment managers promise sky-high returns if you just send them some crypto first. It's a classic social engineering tactic dressed up as a financial opportunity. Now, these scammers usually have legitimate looking websites or well-designed apps using fancy investing jargon to seem real. But in reality, if you look back in May 2025, there's an example case of this unfortunate incident where a resident of Warriewood in Australia has reported a loss of nearly $64,000 to a cryptocurrency investment scam. This victim was initially contacted by the Signal messaging app in June 2024 about an investment opportunity, starting with a $500 outlay and a promise of a tenfold return. He invested more with a company called Ultra Trade Investments, encouraged by the promised returns. However, When attempting to withdraw the profits, he was told to pay additional fees. Over several months, he continued to pay and realized it was a scam when he could not recover his funds. Now, this is really alarming because I've made extensive warnings that whenever you actually get approached by these rogue traders, anything that is too good to be true, as it says here, that should automatically, by default, pop up as a red flag instantly, right? No matter the returns, 2x, 3x, 4x, 10x, I know it's difficult because it can happen even to the most affluent digital asset investor, not just the ones that are new and just starting out on their investment journey in the digital economy. So try to use common sense. You should just automatically discard that and report it to authorities, because by doing that, we can collectively try to avoid the next person falling victim to these fraudsters. The next one on the list, which again is growing prominence out there unfortunately, is what we call decentralized finance rug pulls. In 2025, DeFi rug pulls are a growing form of cryptocurrency scam where developers of a decentralized finance project suddenly withdraw all user funds and disappear, leaving investors with worthless tokens. These scams are becoming more complex to detect, with tactics such as honeypot tokens, where malicious smart contracts prevent users from actually selling the tokens that they've purchased, and multi-wallet control strategies to evade detection. I mean, there's so many highly sophisticated scam attacks that really we've got to do everything we can just to completely divorce ourselves, which is all the more reason why, again, in many of my videos in this Crypto Vault series, the one way you can do quite easily to check whether these exchange platforms or forex trading platforms is just to simply check in your financial regulator to see if these supposed companies are legitimate and have been licensed to operate those financial platforms. Because usually these financial regulators have a search database available to the public where you can inquire to see whether or not they have been granted the license. And even they also keep track in those search databases whether there are scammers or not. So again, you should just resort to that financial regulator website, public website, and if not, call them on the national line just to check whether they have been granted a financial license to operate those platforms. But just by doing that simple thing that anyone can do, you would be able to cut yourself the majority of these issues. And it's something very easy to do. The next one, which I think we're all familiar with, we know what phishing is a classic scam that's now widespread, unfortunately, in the crypto world. It's used to compromise login credentials, such as crypto wallet keys, those seed phrases that I've been ranting on about. Usually scammers send an official looking email that asks the victim to log into their account, which is actually a trap. So you've got an actual phishing email example here, but I'm sure that this is one of the old classic scam techniques that we're all familiar with, not just akin to crypto scams, but for scams at large, right? So I'm not going to go into too much on that. False giveaways. A crypto giveaway scam is when fraudsters pose as a legit cryptocurrency exchanges, businesses, or notable individuals to deceive victims into sending them cryptocurrency. You might have come across a fake YouTube video from Michael Saylor, the CEO of Strategy, giving examples of this false giveaway. So fraudsters are growingly using this false giveaway technique to impersonate prominent public figures to actually deceive their scam. Right? They typically promise to return double or triple the amount sent by the victim, only to vanish when the funds are actually received. This is a classic scam that we are seeing. The next one on the list is what they call pig butchering scam. Pig butchering is a long-term scam where fraudsters build trust, often through romance and social networking, before convincing a victim to invest in fake crypto platforms. Once the victim has deposited significant funds, the scammer disappears, taking all the money. It's called this way because scammers fatten up their victims with attention and trust before slaughtering them by stealing their funds. According to estimates, more than $75 billion may have been stolen from victims worldwide simply through pig butchering scams since 2020. Chainalysis reports that pig butchering scam activity grew in 2024, and this trend, unfortunately, is likely to persist in the following years. So again, this is another classic scam, but it's picking up momentum, unfortunately. The next one, we've seen this throughout the crypto industry, is those pump and dump schemes. This is the oldest trick in the book. You blow up the hype, sell at the top, and then vanish before the crash. In pump and dumps, fraudsters artificially inflate the value of a crypto asset by generating fake hype, often through social media, to create the illusion of high demand. The next one on the list is crypto drainers. A crypto drainer is a malicious script or a smart contract designed to steal cryptocurrency directly from users' wallets by tricking them into connecting their wallets and unknowingly authorizing transactions that transfer the funds to the attacker. You might have actually seen this crypto drainer scam, particularly on the YouTube platform. I've actually seen quite a few of those, and as a result, I've actually reported to YouTube just to take them down, but it's really of no use because they continuously appear to be popping up on the YouTube, particularly on your landing home page, which is quite alarming. So these social network platforms, they ought to be investing more money, more talent to circumvent against these crypto drainer scam techniques appearing on their platforms. And YouTube is just one example of that, unfortunately. So really, these are the 8 common growing trend of highly sophisticated crypto scam techniques that we are seeing, which the businesses, as it says here, should watch out for in 2025. It's not just businesses, but users, actual individuals with family wealth at stake. So just to round off this episode, I want to go through just a glimpse of how you can detect crypto scams in 2025, because the more we can learn, the more we can protect ourselves against these threats. So the first one on the list is promises of guaranteed returns. We just talked about anything that is too good to be true, you should just automatically treat that as a red flag. The next one is lack of documentation and transparency, particularly those that are personating themselves as a legit Forex trading platform. Usually there are ways to detect how new those websites have been in existence and how many visitors they might have received. But usually the best way is to check with your financial regulator to see if they have been licensed to operate in your jurisdiction in the country where you reside to determine whether they're legit or not. No verifiable company registration or licensing. I just mentioned that, and the way to do that through your financial regulator or your company house registrar. I know in the UK they have one, and you can just simply check on their details on that registrar. But in addition to that, always refer to your financial regulator. Another red flag is the pressure to make a decision quickly. Usually the tactic of scammers is they keep calling you just to entice you to send them the cryptos to their designated wallets. So whenever there is a pressure that is quite exaggerated, again, that is the usual red flag that you ought to just simply discard and report to the authorities. You also get a lot of cold calls and messages. This is nothing new. You get also fake websites that are unverifiable. Again, the classic way to check that is how new those websites have been set up and been operating. There are different ways to check that. There are lots of tools on the web available to check, where they give you a quick analysis on how new those websites have been operating. So I think there are free tools available on the internet that you can do that analysis yourself. The next one is token or coin has no utility or purpose. Again, these are usually pump and dump cryptos or even crypto airdrops, because again, that is another potential way to inflate the value of their crypto holdings, and then they just run away with the money. I have seen that in operation quite a lot. So anything that is pump and dump crypto airdrops, you need to take that as a pinch of salt and do your research. And if in doubt, you discard and just follow up with your local authorities to see if they have any further insight as to the legitimacy of those new cryptocurrencies that they've approached you with. The next one on the list is the inability to withdraw funds. This is important because it's all good and well to send them the crypto funds to their platform, but if you're unable to withdraw funds, that is a red flag. And also be wary, if you send an amount and then they give you a small amount back, that is still a red flag, because I have seen instances where they attempt to prove you that you can withdraw the funds, but in reality they tend to be very, very small amounts. But when you start adding large amounts of crypto funds onto those platforms, that's it. You're done, and you're lost. But this is all the more reason why you need to just resort to the financial regulator, because they should give you the actual confirmation to tell you whether they have been granted a financial license to operate in the countries. Because ultimately, if they are genuine, they are legit, you should have open access to your funds at any moment in time, including the withdrawal of funds. So that's an important aspect to take into consideration. And then lastly, request for personal information. You should never ever share any information whatsoever, whether it's private keys, your name, your home address where you live, ID numbers, any information, right? You just simply discard that. So these are just examples of best practices on how to help you detect whether these are crypto scams or not. And as I said before, tap into my Crypto Vault podcast series to learn a little bit more about how to protect yourselves. So that is all I would like to discuss with you today. Unfortunately, we're going to be seeing more incidences of crypto scams and victims as we speak, particularly where there's growing momentum, there's more adoption of crypto, digital capital, digital wealth poured into the industry. We need to do everything we can to protect ourselves. So anything that will help raise that level of awareness on what is that latest crypto scam technique, well, this is the purpose of my channel. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like button, to share the video to co-workers and friends and family, and if you haven't done so already, to please subscribe to my channel, as I regularly publish some interesting videos such as these, anything to do with Bitcoin, blockchain technology, and the future of finance. So till next time,